The Women's Premier League 2025 mini auction has come to an end. Remember, in this 99% of the teams had already retained their core. Only 19 slots were to be filled in this very short mini auction, which lasted for about 2 hours. But there were some surprises. But there were some unknown players who once again broke the bank, and their stories are kind of very, very inspiring when you look at it. But Sid, I mean, this mini auction, we knew that 99% of the core is intact. Were we expecting anything surprising? Although there were some surprises.
I think one of the biggest surprises that we have seen is obviously in case of Sneha Rana. First of all, she wasn't really retained by her respective franchise despite captaining them in the previous season. But then overall, if we look at, Sneha Rana's test record and ODI record, well, she has been, in and out of the Indian test team. But then
I remember she took 13 wickets, I think, in one test against South Africa, Chennai, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. I think one of the test matches that you played against South Africa after a gap of 10 years for that matter.
Yeah, although you had done well against Australia and England, but I think she had a major impact against South Africa.
Exactly. So I think just from that perspective, knowing that you usually play such kind of matches in the WPL on low and slow tracks, I think Sneha Rana being an off-spinning all-rounder would have been a decent option for any of the franchises. But then, as it has been established now that she has gone unsold and she is like one of those premier Indian players who hasn't been picked by any of the franchise. But if we talk about any of the some of the uncapped players who have been sold for a bigger amount, or in fact franchises have broken the bank for them, there is Simran Sheikh, who went for 1.9 CR. At her base price was 10 lakhs for that matter, and she has gone to Gujarat Giants. They actually broke the bank for her. Then there is West Indies all-rounder Deandra Dottin, the former captain also. She has gone for 1.7 crore to Gujarat Giants. Once again, they really needed a couple of big players to step in, or maybe to get into the 11, and that's what Deandra brings, that kind of experience with her. And with Simran Sheikh, there is going to be the fact that a youngster who can really boost this GG11. Then there is G. Kamlini, who has gone for 1.6 to former WPL champions, or in fact, I should rather say the inaugural WPL champions, to Mumbai Indians, and Pramila Rawat to... Yeah, it's Pramila Rawat. They are saying Prema Rawat. She has gone to RCB, the current WPL champions, something that the men's team, would really want to replicate in one of the next 50 seasons or so. Yes. She has gone to RCB for 1.2 CR, and the last pick of the top 5 is Shri Charani. She has gone to Delhi Capitals, who actually purchased a total of 3 players in this mini auction. She has gone to them for a total of 55 lakhs.
I mean, we have done individual videos of these 3 unknown crorepatis that have come in the WPL auction at this point. One, if you have to look at it, Simran Sheikh hails from Dharavi. Dharavi, her father worked as a wireman. She's got a huge family, 7 children. And she was one of the children in that, and that is why honing her skills in the bylanes of Dharavi now all the way as a 1.9 crore, the most expensive buy in this IPL mini auction, WPL mini auction, if you have to look at it, most expensive buy at 1.9. So that's a very interesting story of Simran Sheikh, that is there, Mumbai girl playing, honing her skills in Dharavi, and now she's a crorepati. Kind of gives me Slumdog Millionaire vibes at this point when you look at it. But let's focus on Deandra Dottin. Now, Deandra Dottin is very, very interesting because she was initially picked by the Gujarat Giants. But later on, they released a statement that Deandra Dottin was not fit. So she didn't play in the WPL. But later on, Deandra Dottin stated, hello, when did I get injured? When was I ever injured? This meant that Dottin couldn't play the next year. I think there was some kind of friction, something had happened. No one knows the true story of what happened between Deandra Dottin and the Gujarat Giants. Now suddenly, out of the blue, she has become the most expensive foreign buy in the history of the WPL auction, which has happened today. 1.7 crores. And that is really surprising. I mean, Michael Klinger pointed out, who's the director at Gujarat Giants, he stated that, look, we want to ensure that current WBBL form plays a big role. Now, Deandra Dottin, when you look at Melbourne Renegades, Renegades won the WBBL title this time around, beating Brisbane Heat by 7 runs by DLS. if you look at the whole season, Dottin didn't have that big a thing. I mean, 144 runs, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, she took wickets at quite an expensive economy rate when you look at it. But experience, the OG of women's T20 cricket when you look at it. If you want power, if you wanted aggression, you cannot go beyond Deandra Dottin.
Well, maybe there is one more option that didn't really come into the picture as far as the mini auction is concerned, and that's Lizzie Lee. We are discussing about it.
I mean, I'm not going to look too much into Lizzie Lee, but then another big name that didn't go was Heather Knight.
For that matter, yes.
Heather Knight, who's one of the stalwarts in the England team, but I think because of past form at this point, she's not getting a look in. Lauren Cheadle, who's got an action like Mitchell Stark. Even she went unsold. Chanel Henry went unsold. When you look at it, Narine de Klerk got a bid, I think, by the Mumbai Indians. I just have to take a look at it. Yes, Narine de Klerk got a bid from the Mumbai Indians. Apart from that, Alana King almost went unsold. But Alana King in the accelerated auction got 30 lakhs when you look at it. So, you look at Gujarat Giants, they went shopping. They were the ones who broke the bank in most occasions. Mumbai Indians and looking at it also, Delhi Capitals had the most frugal buys amongst the lot. Mumbai Indians had a big buy, RCB had a big buy, Prema Rawat. Now, I'll come to the other two. Simran Sheikh had already told you, Kamalini. Now, Chennai Super Kings don't have a team in the WPL. But Kamalini broke the bank because her big hitting. In Asia Cup in particular, in one of the tournaments, she hit 10 sixes. And because of that, she became one of the stars in this. There was a big auction frenzy in this case. Now, Prema Rawat, Uttarakhand Premier League has gotten its due because she was the one who led Mussoorie Thunder to the title. And because of that, you won't find Prema Rawat's profile. It's very difficult. You have to scar through and you look at it. Her numbers aren't that great, 70 strike rate, but economy rate of 4.41.
We may not have, found a profile, but the franchise talent scout definitely found
Definitely did. So these are the story of these three Indian crorepathi's. Simran Sheikh from Dharavi, the most expensive buy in the WPL 2025 mini auction. Then you look at Prema Rawat from Uttarakhand. She led her franchisee to the title in the Uttarakhand Premier League. She's a utility player at this stage. Kamalini from Tamil Nadu in the under-19 setup has really been doing well, and that is why she got big bucks because of her big hitting. So Kamalini, Simran Sheikh, Prema Rawat, all of them have ensured that, yes, along with other small names that were there. There was Narine de Klerk, Alana King, another big names, but they didn't get that big a sum when you look at it. So overall, it was an auction that lacked the hype. But then you have to understand, but Sneh Rana, I'm very surprised about what happened with Sneh Rana indeed. I mean, she was a very good, she was one of the stars in the home season last time. But I'm also surprised with Poonam Yadav. What's gone wrong for 3 to 4 years where Poonam Yadav has just not been picked?
I think in a way you got to feel for these women players who really haven't been picked by any of the franchise, because you hardly have any of the domestic, tournaments going on, whether it's the, limited overs, 50 over or the 20 over. Yes, there are some, tournaments that do go on, but then overall, if these players have to make their way back into the Indian team, then obviously, they need those kind of chances. And Sneh Rana, and in case of Poonam Yadav also, both of who have featured in different World Cup squads for India at different stages, I think they, in a way, do probably deserve a place in any of the franchises. Let's hope that they can still find a place, maybe not this season but the next season also. And when we talk about the season, this is the last mini auction that took place in the first WPL 3-year cycle. First was a mega auction, the inaugural season, then the mini auction took place last year, and now this year also. So now after the WPL 2025, there is going to be a proper shifting of players, with I think a maximum of 2 or 3 players likely to be retained by most of the franchise. But then I think that's basically the story. They need, these women players need that kind of a platform, and hopefully I think they'll get it.
I mean, you're asking me about the other players. Yes, Lizzie Lee. Yeah. Total contrast. If Deandra Dottin could be picked on the basis of WBBL success, Lizzie Lee was the second highest run getter in the WBBL.
And she took a few wickets also.
But then she's unsold totally. Now, when you look at it, even Rosemary Mayer, Orla Pendergrast, all of them. Orla Pendergrast from Ireland was expected to fetch big bucks, but that didn't happen. Rosemary Mayer from New Zealand also, even she, Rosemary Mayer, in fact, was one of the key players who ensured New Zealand would win the T20 World Cup title.
Yep.
Is this the revenge that you knocked India out so early? I don't know at this point. But then these were the major names that were there. So technically, when you look at it, Alana King's got a franchisee. I think Beth Mooney and all the others would be very
in the accelerated round.
in the accelerated round. But all the others, when you look at it, Lauren Cheadle going unsold was rather. But I think injury also played a role. She didn't.
Heather Knight too.
Heather Knight, on the other hand, well, that's okay. So that's about it when we look at the WPL mini auction. 19 slots had to be filled. It was a short 2-hour auction. The last name, when you look at it, I think was I think Charini was the 5th highest pick in the auction with
it
Delhi
was
Capitals.
I think Harshita Maheshwari.
No, I don't think it was. Wait, I'll just tell you. It was who was the last name to be?
And in the meantime, you can suggest, what do you think were
Prakashika Naik went to Gujarat Giants for 10 lakhs. So that was when Daniel Gibson went to Gujarat Giants. Gujarat Giants really went shopping at this stage. So Prakashika Naik was the last individual to be sold. So 19 players all sold in the WPL. Now we'll be hoping that they get a window in the January-February period. Because IPL this time is beginning in March. So that's why WPL for those 3-week window, can they get it? Let's see how that pans out. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. And don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. From me and Sid Gulati, it is bye-bye. See you soon.